Hey, welcome to Movies Worth Talking About, where we talk and talk and talk about movies. I'm John Carlos, and I am joined by producer extraordinaire, Lauren Bancroft.
Hi, happy to be back.
Happy to have you back.
Great.
One of the things that we're already buds, but when I see someone who likes the same movie as I do, I go, like I'm not saying I'm that easy, but like the barometer goes, we like the same thing. I'm with you.
Yeah. That's why
Um,
we're friends.
primarily, yeah.
Yeah, same wavelength. Yep.
No, but when I see someone on the socials and stuff like Top Gun Maverick as hard as I do,
Yep.
right in here a little bit, because mm, I quite literally don't know where to begin, but I could tell you, I fucking love this movie.
It's so good. And I say that as someone who really hated the first one.
Me too.
Great.
I think it
Great.
sucks.
It's so bad and it's such a product of the time. I think it was 86,
Yeah.
mid 80s. It's just such a product of the time. And I remember I went to a couple colleges, but my second one I was in a film history class and we had to write an essay about, I forget if we got to choose the movie or the scene or whatever, but I wrote a whole essay about how absolute crap that sex scene in Top Gun is, like the original. It's just so 80s and like it's so over the top and the music is ridiculous and it's how it's shot is foolish. And Tom Cruise is just like in a corner like shirtless. It's so silly. And I just wrote a whole essay ripping into it. And I was not expecting to A, see Top Gun Maverick, B, see it so many times, and C, love it as much as I did.
Yeah, I when did you first see Top Gun?
I saw it last May,
No,
last
no,
year.
Top Gun.
Oh, the first movie. I don't know. It might have been in that film history class, which is like
Okay.
I'm questioning my film professor's choices on that.
I I didn't see it my whole life. It became a point where, and also huge Tom Cruise fan. Um, Tom Cruise, the actor, Tom Cruise, the movie star. We don't need to really get into like what he believes in, but like for what he produces, what he puts on screen,
Mm-hmm.
massive fan. And
Yep.
then the thing that always would record scratch people is, wait, you like Tom Cruise, but you've never seen Top Gun? I'm like, no, I don't want to see Top Gun. It looks bad. There's, there's like this certain level of like 80s machismo that I'm just not here for. And
Sure.
and about, I don't know, only just a few years ago, like maybe seriously like 6 months before the trailer drops, and then before it got pushed back because of like COVID and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know what? All right, fuck it. Like I'm 39, I'm 40 years old. Let's find this and watch it for the first time.
Yep.
Didn't like it.
Yeah. No. I
It
mean, I.
was
Yeah. No go.
it was and I'm sure anyone out there who likes Top Gun 1 is gonna hate me. I have friends in my real life who like, I told this to someone, I'm like, it's not about anything. Like nothing happens in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's already a really good pilot. They fly a lot. His
Yep.
friend dies.
His
He's
friend dies.
sad.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Nothing really changes. He just stops being sad. And then they save the day.
Yeah,
Um,
he plays volleyball.
yeah.
He and the bad guy earn respect for each other and shake
Little
hands.
things, but
And like, yeah,
yeah, but
okay.
like it all just unfolds because it needs to unfold. I remember I told a friend of mine that, and his face is dropped. He's like, "Well, it's not as simple as that." I'm like, isn't
Is
it?"
it? It's a
Because
yeah.
I hate in real life when people will see a movie that I think maybe doesn't have a lot of plot, but there's a lot of story. There's a lot of themes. There's maybe it's really character driven. Top Gun 1, even though like not a lot happens, I wouldn't go, oh, well, it's this character study. It's really about the character. Like nothing happens in Top Gun.
No.
Anyway, I remember watching the trailer just a few months later, the first trailer for Top Gun Maverick, and like even then, like it's the same shot of him on the motorcycle, like on the tarmac. It's
Mm-hmm.
him grabbing the glasses, him grabbing the jacket. I saw a shot of what's his face playing the piano, and I went, "Oh my god, this is gonna be like a nostalgia bait movie." Like I saw him getting yelled at by Ed Harris, and we're sending it. I went, "Oh my god, this is gonna suck. It's just gonna be the first movie all over again. It's
Uh-huh.
all they had a close up of like the beach. It's football, but I'm like, this movie's gonna suck.
Yeah.
And I remember on opening weekend, one friend of mine like on Facebook posted like, "Oh my god, it was so good." I'm like, no.
Yeah. It
And
can't be.
then all the things started flooding in. I'm like, well, it is Tom Cruise, and I
Mm-hmm.
love him, not just as a movie star. I love him as a producer. But we'll get to that in a moment.
Yep.
Blew my brains at the back of my head.
Yeah.
Like in a list of like Godfather 2, Empire Strikes Back, like superior sequels, Gremlins 2 to Gremlins, like this, I
So good.
not
So
even
good.
quantifiable how much better it is.
Yeah. And
Like
I
first,
think it's
it's a movie.
yeah.
Like it has characters who have like things to overcome and a story. And I know that sounds dumb, but like the first movie has none of that. This
Nope.
is an actual movie with like a plot that goes somewhere and things that need to get achieved and resolved. And it has, oh my God.
Yep. It's great. And it's a perfect amount of throwback to the original, like the references and, like, I think the references are great, but
Yeah.
it's also so great as an entryway to where like, you don't need to have seen the first one because it also like bastes the audience with, with flashbacks and with meaning.
Yeah.
Like,
And
great.
monologues explaining how I feel about that thing that already happened.
For sure. That happened in the 80s,
And those throwbacks, when you cut them into a trailer, I go, oh God. But in the movie, they're fine.
Right. Yeah.
They're great.
In this 2 hour and 10-minute movie, something like that.
Yeah. Well, when you cut to like Miles Teller playing the piano in the trailer, I just go, oh God. When he starts playing it in the movie and then Tom Cruise like freezes and starts, having like an emotional
Yes.
meltdown and we get a flashback.
Yes.
That's how it works better in a movie than, just my limited viewpoint in the trailer. And can I
Yep.
just say, like, what a movie. Like
It's such a goddamn movie. As a fan of movies and just as a filmmaker myself, it's like when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, I want to make movies. I want to make, because it's such a feat of filmmaking in every way. Like the fact that all of the flying was done practically. Like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. And like, I mean, Tom Cruise is great. I feel like personally, I've been sleeping on Tom Cruise, where I actually just in the last like couple months watched my first few Mission Impossible movies. Yeah, I mean, I had gone so much of my life without having seen them, and I'm like, yeah, I know Tom Cruise as an actor. I know him. I know like he's been in a lot of stuff, and I've seen him in a lot of stuff, but like Mission Impossible is like, this is why he's an action star.
Yeah.
This is why he is like Mr. doing his own stunts, upping it every time. Like it's pretty impressive. So I want to go back and like familiarize myself with his filmography.
Well, it's the goodwill that the Mission Impossible movies have earned with me that I'm like, yeah, I'll roll the dice. Like he's produced all those. He's no dummy. Christopher McQuarrie has written like the last bajillion movies that he wrote, including this one. So like all the right names are on this. Let me give it a shot. And I came out of that. I'm going to tell you my second favorite movie of last year was RRR.
Mm-hmm.
Top Gun wasn't the same as that, but both of those movies I like left going like, this is why we go to the movies.
Yeah.
Like this.
I will say I have not yet watched RRR, and I'm going to eventually. I've seen I've seen a few clips from it, and I've seen all of the amazing reviews. So I'm definitely going to eventually watch it. But I was so bummed that Lady Gaga didn't win for Hold My Hand for Best Original Song on Top Gun Maverick. Look, I'm just saying, I mean, I didn't see the RRR song in context, but also the performance at the Oscars was amazing. It really was. But I was just so bummed because when I saw Top Gun Maverick, the use of Lady Gaga's song, Hold My Hand, was so amazingly done. Like it's great at the end credits. It's great when it's playing in the bar. It's great. Like, yeah, like the melody and like throughout in the score is
Yeah.
amazing.
3 credited composers could be kind of messy. I know, but no, it's great.
So good.
Yeah.
It all works so well.
No,
Yeah, it's just good.
Not to is my shit. That was my most listened to song last year. I think I listened to it minimum once a week.
Ooh,
Like, no,
excellent.
yeah. So sorry, Lady Gaga, but not to.
That's okay. I mean, she's already won for best original song, but
But like,
when I saw Top Gun, I'm like, wow, this is a great song. It's very, very well used. Nice.
I'm actually wearing a shirt that references the Nicole Kidman AMC thing,
Uh-huh,
where this is what you
yes.
go to the movies for. But
Yep.
like, those 2 movies delivered like all the emotions and like thrills and like everything that you want out of like a single movie experience. Like Top Gun delivers.
Yep. Absolutely.
And part of it's because like, and I honestly feel this way. Like, I don't know anything about Tom Cruise like as a person, like behind closed doors, like whether he's actually nice or anything like that. But
Uh-huh.
I 100% believe. Besides, like, great, yeah, you do your own stunts, whatever. That's very, very, very impressive.
It is.
But what I'm here to praise is the fact that I feel like he's one of the few big star producers that I 100%, I think, in his heart cares about delivering the audience like the best for like their $10 or $15 movie ticket.
I think he cares more about movies in general than anyone, period.
Yeah.
Like he's just such a fan of movies. And that makes me like really like him even more. It's so endearing that he takes it so seriously, that he loves it so much, and that he really cares about the theater going experience too. I mean, he fought tooth and nail so that this was released theatrically, and it did gangbusters.
Yeah.
It like if he hadn't been the one to say no, we're not giving it to a streamer, because it came out in May of 2022. So it's like pandemic was still, I mean, it's still happening.
Right.
It is absolutely still happening. It's still a thing. It is surging. But like he's like, we're not gonna waste this on a streaming situation.
Yeah.
He's like, it belongs in the movies. It was shot on IMAX cameras specifically to be seen in theaters in an IMAX experience. So like if he hadn't, and that's because he just loves going to the movies.
He
and
loves
that makes
movies
me so happy.
so much that
So
during
much.
the pandemic, when Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers are like, hey, go see Tenet in a theater. I know people are dying, but go see this movie in a theater. Even he would like did promotional stuff and went to the movies. And I'm like, no, Tom Cruise, like, I like you, but I'm not going to see fucking Tenet. Thank you very much. But that's how much he loves the movies.
Yep.
Even Tom Cruise is like, hey, go risk your life for Tenet.
Yep. Yep.
But I've seen the interviews. Like, he actually uses the word, like, he thinks about the audience when he's making these. And I always just feel like I know that he's not forgetting us.
No, he understands that, people go to the movies to connect with what they're seeing, and that comes across in all of his projects.
I 1,000% agree.
Yep.
We'll talk off camera about Mission Impossibles, but my God.
Yep. I did a little marathon ahead of the newest one, and then I didn't finish the marathon, and then I didn't see the newest one. So I still have some to see.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I don't know. First of all, I'll just start from the beginning. The very, very opening logo. The fact that they went with the old, where they credit Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately go, "Aw." Especially, I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer has produced plenty on his own, but like, I miss the pre-Michael Bay, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer era. So it was nice to respect. I mean, they pretty much do the opening of Top Gun 1 anyway. Like, same title card, same text, another montage, Danger Zone. So like,
yes, Danger Zone.
Let's be cute and credit Don Simpson too. It's nice.
Yeah.
All my life, Danger Zone did nothing for me. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Now that Maverick has happened, I'm like, fucking Danger Zone. Like,
hell yeah.
Emotional context matters. But yeah, I love that they also do that thing where like, hey, it's Top Gun movie, so we're gonna give you the thing, we're gonna give you the music, we're gonna give you the montage, but then they immediately go into quiet, emotional music. The hangar opens, like,
Mm-hmm.
It felt very much like, okay, here's your nostalgia bait. Now we're starting the real movie.
Yeah. Now let's see. Where did we leave our hero? Leave off with our hero. Oh, it's been how many years? And he's doing what?
And he's a real character now
Yes.
who has
He's lived a life.
he's lived a life.
Yep.
He at one point when he's in the cockpit of the fancy schmancy ship,
Yep.
hit Mach 10. Please don't go over
Sure.
10.1, 10.2.
Uh-huh. He couldn't stop himself. That's
The
fine.
second he hits 10.3, I'm like, what's your fucking deal? And then I'm like, oh, he has a need for speed. And now it doesn't feel just like some line that like a young guy in his 20s says. It's now actually like a character defining trait / flaw.
Yep.
So between that and them, reading off the laundry list of all the other things and achievements he's done while staying as captain, we get to learn more about him as a person over the course of the story, about him and Rooster and how it, all that plays back to Goose. All to say that all this creates a character who's got guilt, who's got bullshit that he needs to get over that's holding him back. Like now we have a real character to follow.
Yeah. And you also have someone who is, he's a human. He gets older. He's literally having to face aging out of being useful at the only thing he's done his whole life, which is it makes you sympathize with him even more. Because, Ed Harris is like threatening to be like, you're a fossil. You're going to be obsolete. We're going to go to drones. So he's like, and also Tom Cruise as a man is aging.
Yes,
and like, so it's like, what's the character and what is maybe a struggle for this movie star who is going to be making movies until the day he dies. Absolutely. But still, it really makes you sympathize with the character.
I'm glad you brought that up because to me, in a weird way, this is Tom Cruise's most personal movie in a long time. Because when you're talking about aging out of this field that he's in, and I mean, how much between Maverick and Tom Cruise do you have? Like a guy in his late 50s, when he literally is telling them like time is your enemy. I know we're talking about planes engaging you, but we're also talking about him and a man who spent the last, let's say, over a decade putting like his life on the line for our entertainment. And at some point, your age and literally like the physicality, and also the fact that even though he had a really successful Mission Impossible franchise, the idea that as you're getting older, Maverick gets sent back to Top Gun, and like in a weird way, Tom Cruise is going back to the well to prove his relevancy. Pushing himself to the limits in the plane, pushing himself to the limits with his body in every movie. I think this is, if you could look back on his whole career, like this is the movie that's about him. Yeah,
it's really great, and also there's not a bit of fat on it. It's an amazing cast. Also,
no fat is like.
Do you have it? Do you have it on there? Oh, good.
Not a single wasted line.
Every line, every scene, every gorgeous shot or vista serves a purpose, and it serves an emotional purpose. It moves the story further, and it makes you further invested in these characters and their journey. And it's just so good. It's just so goddamn good. I just love it so much.
Every step of the way has a point. It has or sometimes I don't want to say it has too much going on, but there's a debriefing scene where obviously like Rooster has to get out of his own head, and I forget his name, but he's Hangman. What a cocky prick that guy is. But the fact that he starts to like dress down Rooster about not only him being in his own head, but about the baggage that we think is about him, about his dad and Maverick, and how that all comes to a head in this fight scene. And there's like 3 or 4 different emotional threads that are all kind of exploding in one scene. And every single line is either full of information or exposition or like emotional relevance. Like, all killer, no filler.
Yep. It's all very, very good. Also killer cast, and also great characters. So even if like all of I'm going to call them recruits. I know they're not recruits. They were already in the Navy, but all of like the people that he's training for this mission, for this mission that I love so much that they do not have a named bad guy or country that's the bad guy.
The enemy?
Just the enemy. I'm
The
like,
enemy.
this is how you make it accessible in every market.
Right.
Good job.
Okay.
Literally any country can be like, the enemy is someone not us. That's besides us, right? Perfect. Great.
By not
Genius.
naming the country Iran or Russia or Korea, the movie can play in all those countries.
All countries. It's just so it's such a smart business decision to make it a nameless, faceless enemy.
I think the first movie did that too. Like they never flat out. Do they call them or the MiGs Russian? I always thought that it was just implied. Oh, it's the 80s.
I mean, it's the 80s, yeah.
But I mean, they're Russian MiGs, but they're just, I don't know, they're planes.
Yeah. I don't know. I just always assumed for sure. But yeah, it's so good. It's just I'm just gonna keep saying it's such a good movie. It's just, and I know, like, let's go ahead and get out of the way. Military propaganda.
Sure.
It absolutely is. And I am anti-military industrial complex, and we spend way too much money on the military. And this movie actually paid the Navy pilots that trained their actors about $12,000 an hour for flying, for training, and for shooting. So that's crazy. And like, this movie obviously gave a lot of money to the American military, but it's so good.
It's so good.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real trick. I don't want to lower one to raise another, but I remember watching Battle Los Angeles, and I'm like, this is a recruitment film.
Yeah.
This movie is propaganda with a capital P, whereas this feels like a movie.
Yeah.
And what a movie.
The propaganda is a lowercase p, and it's hidden in a great story and a film that's so well made.
Yeah. One of the things that to me that I like about it is that and we talked about this I didn't mean to pick two movies where I have similar notes, but we talked about Pacific Rim and I have a similar note.
Yeah.
In that this movie follows a lot of typical beats. Very typical, very like he's a rebel who doesn't play by the rules. And then he gets dragged in and they're like, you should be out. But gosh dang it. And
he has to train the new crop.
He has to train the new people, and he's gonna end up on the team. So like, know, and then when he doesn't, and then there's a scene where like should have you court-martialed, but I don't know whether to do that. Or damn it, you're the best one for the like.
But damn, you're so damn good.
Yep. The team. Oh man, like the scene where they're playing football on the beach, and it's like, you want me to form a team? Like, look, they're learning teamwork. Like, these are all things you've seen a million. I will tell you this: when his first day teaching, and he holds up the F-18 manual, and I'm like, oh my god, he's not going to drop it in the trash can.
He's going to throw it away.
And then and he drops it. I'm like, oh, you did it! You did the thing. But here's what's great about all this.
What?
These are cliches and beats that we've seen used, in all through the 80s and 90s and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It does all the things that nothing about this movie is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
It's following all these same beats, but it's doing them. It's shot completely sincerely. The editing's super tight. The score takes it super seriously. That I don't have a chance to roll my eyes because it's so played in earnest that instead of rolling my eyes, I actually give a shit. Yeah, because you're invested. By being aware of it, I like that you are respecting what works.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And respecting the filmmakers too. Because like you're on the journey. You're on the roller coaster ride. And it's like, if you're having a good time and you're along for the ride, it's like you're not gonna notice those cliches, or you're not gonna care. You're gonna maybe clock them, but be like, I accept.
Well, and I'm happy you nailed it and you got me to give a shit. That's what's impressive to me. I remember, weird reference, I haven't felt this way since going back to 1999 when I saw Tarzan in theaters, the Disney Tarzan.
Oh my god.
Because it like clocked every single typical like beat you've ever seen in a Disney movie, from like
Yep.
this the dead parent and the sympathetic mother and the Disney song here. But like, you know what?
Yep.
Every cliche worked, and I was so on the ride. And
Hmm.
to be aware, but to not judge, and like that's a very like that's fucking movie making.
Yep. Yep. Nailed it.
You make me want to
Uh,
cheer despite all this, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, but just
Um,
yeah, him dropping the book. I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this, and I can't believe like in 2023, I'm feeling I'm actually saying, oh, we don't make them like they used to anymore. But they really haven't. We've had so many either like quippy movies or like unnecessarily serious grim movies, and to take it and just sort of almost wear your heart on your sleeve.
mm,
Great job.
yeah. Really, really good. Also, this movie, I think my favorite thing about it is I think in the same vein as making Maverick a character, like a real character that we can understand and relate to and see the emotional journey of. He oh my god, I forgot what I lost it. I was
Oh,
complimenting the character so much. Hang on. Oh yes. Okay. Is that he is such a great example of positive masculinity
hmm.
in every way. Like when you're watching it, it's like there is no like he cries and there's no judgment about that. Like he is open, he is honest with his feelings and with like the baggage that he's bringing and like the work that he has done or maybe still has to do. He's just it's just like such a positive example. He's also, great to Jennifer Connelly, great with Jennifer Connelly. Also Jennifer Connelly, a babe.
I concur.
We can all agree on Jennifer Connelly. Who I think is also great because she's a brand new past love interest,
Right.
which is such an interesting choice.
And if
Because
you're a Top Gun fan, she's also a deep cut reference.
go on.
When Maverick is in like the same structure, like there's an inciting incident, you're out of here, but you're being sent to Top Gun. And I can't remember the actor or the character's name, but I just want to call him Principal Strickland. But he's like listing off that you've done like 5 flybys through the tower, including with the Admiral's daughter or whatever. And
Oh, she's supposed to be the Admiral's daughter.
and Goose leans over and he's like, Penny, whatever the fuck. And he like says her name.
Oh my
She's
god.
just a name of someone Maverick banged.
I love it. I had no idea about that.
And if you don't have any idea, she's still a perfectly functioning
Still
character.
perfectly fine.
But
Still
if you're
perfectly fine.
but she's also a callback, which is fun and nerdy.
I love that. I love that.
While we're on the subject of her,
Uh-huh.
if I only have one note,
Yes.
one it's this. When I'm talking about all the cliches that it does in earnest, the
Uh-huh.
one cliche that it does that I'm like, oh, we're doing this though, is we're gonna have the girl, because like the movie's got to have the girl. It's like there are movies that don't need to have a love interest, but they're like, well, we have to put a love interest in it, and you know that the casting directors, they're all like, well, who are we gonna get to play the girl? And I went,
Mm.
oh, we're doing that. We're doing, because she's got her only role in the movie, and she makes the best of it. Okay, she does
She does
the
great.
best
Great.
with what she's given. But
Yes.
her role is to look sincerely at him, to give him pep talks, cheer
Mm-hmm.
him up, listen sincerely when he's got to work his shit out. She's there in service of him,
Sure.
which is kind of a thankless role, but
Mm-hmm.
this isn't as thankless as it used to be done in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
At
Yeah.
least I love the thing that makes, well, one, she acts the shit out of it.
She
And
does.
two, I do write they write the arrogant, not the arrogance, the confidence of like, well, I own my own business. I'm raising my daughter. Like, you know
I
what?
I have
I
this
have
boat.
that I can
Gorgeous boat.
pilot better than you can.
Yep.
But also she has the smarts in the beginning to be like, let's not do this. And I'm like, good for you. I know
Yep.
you're gonna do this anyway, but at least at the beginning, you're not
Yep.
gonna. But I love I love me just the confidence of when he puts the phone on the counter and I'm like, yep, like there is no missing piece to her puzzle that only Maverick can fill. Like she is already a fully formed. So I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, they do the best with having, but I don't want to say like I rolled, but I think I wrote the moment down. But like, they're in the bedroom, and she's the vessel that allows him to talk about Rooster and his own concerns. Um,
Sure.
but he's like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, you'll find a way. I know you will. And I'm like, oof, what a thankless like line. But you need to get like a Jennifer Connelly to really sell the fuck out of this.
And she did. And she did.
She really did.
Yes.
He gets shit canned, and she's like waiting for him, and she's like, oh, I heard. And then when he's about to go on the mission, then they're at the beach. First of all, like you said, every shot, like we know what's happening next day, but it's still like it's support. It's
yeah, indeed.
She's great. And even that, as my one note, isn't like that sucks.
No.
It's just they took a dated thing and they did the best they could with it. Speaking of her, though, one other little thing. It's the opposite of the horribly tacky, over the top sex scene.
Yeah, it's like
she lets
implied.
him in. It dissolves, and instead of dissolving to like people thrusting, it dissolves to post-coital snuggles and talk.
They're just holding each other. Yeah.
And it's a montage of them laughing and enjoying each other's company.
Yes, which is also a very different choice from the original Top Gun.
Right. And also, if we don't talk about like, not toxic, you're painting like a male who like, if the typical stand-up routine is like, the guy wants to leave. No one wants to talk.
Right.
This guy, like, guys do want to sit and talk, and in this movie we show it.
It's such a good, I mean, I say toxic, not toxic, I say positive masculinity, but as part of that is it's just intimacy. Like experiencing intimacy, which is what every human needs, man or woman, non-binary, etc. Like we all need closeness. Yeah, we all need to connect with someone, and that can happen in a lot of different ways. But Maverick being comfortable with his emotions and not being afraid to show them, and then just being close with his partner. That's intimacy, and that's important to show in a positive way, and not like as the butt of a joke.
Nope.
Not as like, someone's gonna razz him later for it. It's like he's a grown ass man. He's an adult.
He doesn't get back to the base and has to be all Danny Zuko about it. Like
not at all. Not like, I mean, there is definitely some like stereotypical masculinity in this movie for sure, but it's not to the point of being toxic. It's not to the point of being like detrimental. Even Hangman. I was thinking of the original. Even Hangman has like a moment of like respecting Rooster, and then at the very end coming in to save the day, to like bring his F-18 or whatever, come in and like shooting the bad guy down, like getting to be the hero. And then great, we're all good, and then it's the same kind of like handshake with Iceman from the first one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's this, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look up, I just forgot his name. Man, but the guy who plays Hangman.
Yes, Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell.
Great. Oh, great guy. I don't know him. Great guy.
He is note perfect for this movie.
Absolutely.
The second he comes into the bar with that fucking grin,
Yeah. I hate him. Him.
He's so good.
Yeah. He's absolutely perfect for it. And like that cockiness. So good. I think he's going to have a wonderful career ahead of him.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
God, so many good things about this movie. I do want to stir the pot a little bit about, because this is the first time I saw the movie twice in theaters, once right after I bought it. So this is my fourth time seeing it. But this is my first time seeing it knowing that Manny Jacinto was in it and cut out.
Oh my God. That is absolutely worth a note. I was so mad when I saw it. I'm like, wait, you what? You didn't? Oh!
This is the first time I saw him in it. Like I looked for him.
Oh man, yeah, he's in like walking into the bar in that very first
Mm-hmm.
scene, and
And
then
he's in
I think
two of
probably
them.
in the classroom
Yep.
later.
He's always
Uh,
seated at the back. And
sure.
yeah. And then the one that kills me though is when Tom Cruise leaves the beach football game.
Yeah.
It's a big close up of his face, go like, and I'm like,
Come on, you had him there. Ugh,
but
Manny
one
Jacinto,
of the
we
things,
love you.
just brilliant,
Yep.
brilliant performer. One of the things I think about though is that the director addressed how not only Manny but also there's like three or four other kind of actors who had like named characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, when we got into the editing room, like you gotta get it down to.
It can't be 3 hours. It can't be
But
3 hours.
when I watch it, I don't feel like I'm missing something, and I realize that like when we talk about like there's no fat, like every single other character who's like in there that becomes like a known character, like this is the story, and these are the stories that we're telling, and
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see him go, but also whatever you had to cut out to get to this,
Yeah.
this is like perfect,
Yeah, for sure.
but just
Yeah.
what a tragedy.
It's still a fictional world that needs everyone, all of the supporting, everyone that's kind of tangential to like the main characters. Like they still need to fill in that world. It just
Yeah,
sucks that it's like Manny Jacinto, who is so great.
right.
Who's so great. Love him. Love him to death.
Yeah, and my brain just thinks about getting cast and how
Mm-hmm.
happy, and then all the training, and then
Oh yeah.
like I go on that emotional ride, and I
Yeah.
feel awful.
Also, just to
Yeah.
clarify again, I don't know this person. I've never met Manny Jacinto. But I love him. And
Yeah,
I'm always so happy. I'm always so happy when I see him in things.
Manny Jacinto and Glenn Powell, they're great,
They're great.
great guys. I never met them, but I can tell you they're great.
Thumbs up. Want to see you in more. I'm sure we will.
Oh yeah, well, Manny Jacinto is going to be in The Acolyte, which will be the next Star Wars show.
Ooh,
So
that's
Star
great.
Wars, Manny
Good for
Jacinto,
him.
two things I like.
Excellent. Mush them
Yeah,
together. Love that.
yeah, mush them real good.
Mm-hmm.
um, there's so many little beats, and like you had already said this once, I referenced it once, how like every shot, every choice, there's usually some meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
The shot of him on, I think it's a Kawasaki, that motorcycle.
Yep.
It's his motorcycle from the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
I get it's nostalgia bait, but like when he's flying or he's driving along the track, when he's first arriving at Top Gun, and he's looking at the jet. Sure, it's a shot from the first movie, but also he looks over the jet and he has this giant fucking grin. And instead of just me going, "Oh, they're doing a thing," my thought is like, "Wow, you still after all these years get excited about fucking aviation."
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then when they talk about how you're right where you need to be, I'm like, yes, I get that from one shot of him looking at a jet while he's riding a motorcycle.
Yep. And then also you realize it's Tom Cruise and it's him in his lifelong career as being Tom Cruise. And like it just looks so real. It's like you could see that real joy of the life that he gets to live as a movie star who does his own stunts, who, constantly is pushing the envelope.
Yeah, and
Look like as this character who's also feeling those things. And it's just so in line. So good.
absolutely. Um, I'll tell you a dumb little thing. This is just I don't even know why I'm saying it, but the montage of them the first part of their training.
Uh-huh.
Um, they're playing The Who, which is one of my
Okay.
favorite bands ever. And I just want to say thank you, movie, for giving me a great flying sequence, seeing in
Mm-hmm.
IMAX with just like The Who and Jets. There's a lot of
Yep.
for a movie made in 2023. There's a lot of like old man music choices, and
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Okay, great. Shout out to music supervisor of Top Gun Maverick, whoever
Hell,
you may be.
mm-hmm.
Killing it. Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned him, like the positivity of like him crying.
Yes.
I absolutely love the. First of all, I cried in this movie twice, and
Yes. Same.
uh, one of them was spoiler alert, Iceman's funeral.
Right.
But I don't get there until we have the scene before when he goes and visits Iceman. when he goes to visit Iceman,
Mm,
besides obviously all their dialogue, the thing that gets me when I take away from that, the first time I saw it, the nostalgia was Val Kilmer, and I had just seen like the documentary Val like the year prior, so like everything that's
sure.
happened to him,
Yeah.
like all the feelings are there. But what stays with me every time I watch it is Iceman telling him, like he's like basically I wouldn't be here without you, and Iceman's like, no, you're here because of you, like,
Mm-hmm.
um, but the fact that he types out like it's time to let it go, and Maverick, and I 100% believe he's like, I don't know how to. And he's weeping through this whole scene, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
watching a man process all the stress of not only just teaching this team an impossible mission, but it didn't go well with it. But the
Continue.
stress of like all the baggage of his guilt over Goose,
Yep.
and now the fact that he might lose his only connection left with Rooster, like all of that would absolutely weigh on a person.
Yes.
And the fact that they allow Tom to like depict that,
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful.
Yes. I mean, that's
And it's
storytelling.
and it's
That's
pure acting and it's storytelling.
yeah.
That
It's crazy. It's crazy what they like really when you think of how far this franchise has come from where it started to like this sequel had absolutely no right to
none.
be this goddamn good.
That,
Absolutely no right.
that was like the first thing I said when I saw this movie. I'm like, how the
Yeah.
fuck did this be that good? This shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
How dare? How dare?
Yeah.
Because there are so many movies that get made that are middling to bad. And this is a known franchise. Sorry, Camilla's just like whining at me. Hey. Sorry, but it's a known franchise and it would be I mean, I wonder is it because it was coming from such a nostalgic kind of like middling movie that like in the right hands
I
it could
guess,
have been as great as it is and it just happened to work out? Was it because Tom Cruise, was one of the producers? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know if it's that perfect storm of him as a producer, Bruckheimer as a producer. I've never known how to say the director's last name, Joseph Kozwolinski, who, I love Tron Legacy and I like
Kozinski. I think it's
Kaczynski. I
Kozinski,
love
yeah.
Tron Legacy, but this is like a whole different, like an Oblivion was good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's just everyone's kind of just performing their A game, and it's a perfect story. I remember even when this was announced, like this version of it being announced, because they've been talking about this for years.
Since 2010.
Tony Scott was going to direct it before his untimely
And
passing,
then he passed, yeah.
and when they're like, "Well, eventually, like we're going to do it without him," and I went, "Look, I'm not hot take. I don't like every Tony Scott movie. Okay,
Sure.
there's some that are quite good, but I don't go to the Church of Tony Scott the way some of my friends do. And but even I thought, if Tony Scott's gone, maybe don't do this.
Yeah.
How is this that good
Yeah.
without Tony Scott? This really shouldn't work.
No. And yet it does. It's so, so good. And I think it was really worth the wait. I know it was, announced in 2010, and then I think Tony Scott died in 2012. Um, and then, things and like rewrites and attaching a new director and all of these things. And then the pandemic, it pushes it even further. It's like there were so many obstacles. It's like, but it really paid off. And also it made, like $1.39 billion. So it was absolutely the right call. The journey of this film was worth the journey because man, and Tom Cruise made $100 million from it. So good for him. Yep.
um, we were talking about like we were talking about the Val Kilmer scene. One of the other things about it that again, there's things that shouldn't work. Like towards the beginning, when he's in like the fancy jet,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, what's gonna happen to you if you do this. And he's like, yeah, but I know what happens to all of you if I don't do this. And I'm like, Okay, this tells me a little bit about his character,
Yep.
but this also feels a little like hero worshipy. Like, isn't Tom Cruise great?
Mm-hmm.
But it becomes more than that. And the turning point for me is the Val Kilmer scene, because at first, it feels like, these people, they need Maverick. And like, you're the magic sauce. And I'm like, it stops feeling like hero worship. It really does feel like
Mm-hmm.
who you are. Like, how do I word this? When he's meeting with John Hamm for the first time, he's like, we need to train him to do this, we need to train him to do that. And he's like, and to come home. And he's like, what? And he's like, we need to train them to come home. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that John Hamm really, I think it was like one line prior, he's like, sometimes you know what you signed up for, some missions you don't come back from.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's like, sure. Yeah, come back. Sure, why not?
yeah. But the fact
But
that
more importantly, the mission.
it doesn't necessarily feel like hero worship. It feels, that's when we start actually kind of peeling back the layers and realizing, like, he knows what it's like to be a pilot and to lose someone.
Yeah. It
Um,
it feels
it
more earned, I
again,
think.
yeah, because now we're actually making a real movie. So
Yeah.
between that and caring about all these people's jobs, Iceman is absolutely right when he's like, no, Top Gun needs Maverick. And
Mm-hmm.
there is a magic sauce to you, and it is a real part of the character and not just subtext for how great Tom Cruise is. Um,
Yep.
although if you want to read into that too and
Mm-hmm.
thumb your nose at the movie, you could. I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I don't know. I feel a little bit torn. On one hand, I'm very glad that Val Kilmer got to return to be involved in the sequel, even in the limited capacity that that he was.
mhm.
But I also feel like maybe it's a little, I mean, not like they could have him in it and then not address his medical conditions.
Does it feel exploitative, like they're trying to pull your
It
heartstrings?
feels a little bit, but I think it's also like, did they need the funeral scene? Did they need to kill him?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
He
I
didn't
think
need to. He could have just been there and been sick and then done the thing. And then, I just feel like, although it was like an emotional scene because Maverick is saying goodbye to, a lifelong best friend, it's still like, did they need that?
part of me wonders if, well, Top Gun 1 had a end of Act 2 sad death. We need to do that again.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but
Okay.
it does also set the stage for, like, has no safety net when it comes to training these people. Like, Iceman's
Mm,
not there to bail him out anymore.
yeah.
So
He's
it
not
gives
not
you,
there to
I'm gonna
protect
say,
him.
it gives you the illusion that he has no protection, because he's gonna be like, the movie does the beats.
Yeah,
You've
for
got no one to
sure.
protect you, so he's really putting himself on the line when he flies the simulated mission on his own.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm with you. I don't feel exploited in that first scene, but I'm with you. Like, why did he have to die? Because even those things I gave you just
Yeah.
now aren't really fully satisfying answers.
Yeah. I don't know. I
But
just I
but
just feel like I don't know if it was needed. I think it could have been good that he got to be in the sequel. Could have been powerful. That scene where, with It's Time to Let Go, it could have been just
uh,
as good, even without him dying very quickly
yeah,
after that.
I will say this though. I don't think it would have been as, like, imagine making a Top Gun sequel
Mm-hmm.
and not bringing Iceman back at all.
Oh no, you gotta bring him back. You gotta bring
You
him back.
do.
And
Yeah.
in his condition, you have to address
Mhm.
his current situation. I totally understand that, but I think it's maybe it's just the death for the further emotional beat that I don't really know was needed.
I,
And I'm
I
not saying this as like a crazy Val Kilmer fan.
mhm.
I'm just saying it as like, I just don't know. I don't know.
I mostly agree with you. The only thing holding me back is that it worked on me. Like,
Sure.
I wept at the funeral scene,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, I'm feeling things, so I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah. I think I cried in The Office when he was, in Val Kilmer's office. And what else? I don't know. There's like three or four other parts at the very end.
The very
Absolutely,
end.
the very end.
I'll
It's
tell you
great.
what.
It's like I'm gonna keep calling them recruits, even though I know they're not recruits. But like recruitment, understanding and respect, and then also Maverick looking up at John Hamm and like also a level of respect. Like, this is great. And then at the end, when friggin' Rooster and here working on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, come on. I'm also a super sucker for like father figure storylines that have like a good dad angle. I'm I'm very pro dad angle.
I'll tell you a fact without trying to like bring the conversation down. But like ever since my dad died, like dead dad things in movies, like work on me in a way that they never used to before.
Sure. I completely understand. Yeah.
So, and this isn't directly a dad thing, but it's tied to it. The thing that killed me when I saw it, like fucked me up, was the fact that Tom Cruise then takes even though he's mad at him at first, he's like, "Hey, Rooster, like, thank you for saving my life." And then Rooster's like, "It's what my dad would have done." And I was like,
oh. Yeah.
That's true though. Like that moment
fair.
Gets me every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Great. It's great. What a movie.
What a fucking movie.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I know I mentioned how it's like the jet fighter, like the flying shots that were all done practically, which is amazing. That's such a feat. And that's such a commitment to the art of practical filmmaking, which is amazing. But every shot is gorgeous. Everything looks so good. It's not just, it's just across the board. Well, very, very well done.
I'm glad you brought up, there's like 3 different things we brought up that I want to come back to, but I'm going to go with this one. I'm not hardcore to tell you which the names of each cameras, but over the years I've been always very interested in how IMAX has been going from like, well, like, it's like 70 millimeter film to like, we made like a smaller version of the camera, and then we made like a smaller version of the camera because Christopher Nolan's like, it's too fucking loud. And then we made like a digital one, then we made a smaller digital one. And like, they keep making shit easier for people to, get either the true kind of 70 millimeter experience, or at least, like a 1.9 expanded scope like this one. All to say that for this movie, more so than any other, like, hey, look, we made for this movie, the camera's only this big now. They're like, no, we're shooting these aerial scenes for IMAX, and the camera's like this big. Because it's got to fit in a cockpit this big.
Yep.
How the fuck they got that good of an image from that size of a camera? I haven't read up on like the technical Oscars that they give out every year, but give that team fucking all of them.
Yep.
Because it's insane. And then not only obviously the actors are not doing like crazy fucking stunts, but they are flying the planes so that instead of a blue screen or like a rear projection screen, we actually have real environments, while they're acting, which is great, right? So they have to go straight, they have to, move and stuff. But the fact that they also had to like get in the cockpit and kind of be their own DP.
I know. I know. Honestly, like this whole cast, like they had to, like there's 3 months of training, like before they even of training, not rehearsal, of training to be able to be in the plane, to operate their own camera so that they could essentially direct themselves. It's like, this is such a boot camp in so many different ways, just to get to be involved in something that, I mean, that could have turned out to be not good.
Yeah.
But it's so good. Is that the 70th time I've said that on this podcast?
Yeah.
It's so good.
But I'm with, and also everything they're doing, it could have, in lesser hands, it could have felt so technical, but they're still performing with such an organic feeling that I never feel like I'm watching like, okay, I trained. I have to learn how to turn the equipment, and now I'm watching some stiff guy. It's all very pure.
For sure.
No, but we were talking a bit about you mentioned John Hamm and that like nod at the end.
Yeah.
It's a small part. I think he shows up for like maybe 4 scenes, maybe 5. Yeah. Because he looks for them and he goes to the beach. Yeah, okay. But like
maybe 6.
It's such a small beat, but let's say 6. But at the first scene where we meet him, he's not considering the lives of the pilots.
Sure.
But when they're on the mission, he's using wordage about like bringing them home. And I'm like, look at you with your growth. See, Top Gun does need Maverick. Like you, Not just them, like you need Maverick.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
nice that like it, put a little bow on that storyline. Like we gave him an A to B to C.
Yeah. But also, I mean, I feel like he was also like get home, but leave Maverick. Like Maverick made his choice. He, when his plane crashed.
Yeah.
And like he was like, you come back, you come home, Rooster. And Rooster's like, nah, I'm gonna go save my dad's bud, / my surrogate father figure.
Surrogate father.
I'm gonna go save him.
Oh my
And
God. It's
yeah,
one thing when fucking Maverick's like, talk to me, Goose. But when Rooster's like, talk to me, Dad.
yeah.
Like,
So good. So good.
well, okay, and that's another fun element to the story is we know that Rooster's pissed and Maverick is feeling guilt.
Yep.
And the movie could have easily just made it about Goose dying. It's what you're expecting. It's like the one thing the movie kind of did that didn't feel like typical.
It kind of subverted your expectations.
Yeah.
Knowing that he blames himself for his father's death. But no, that he made it more about the naval application being dropped.
So Rooster's
like,
so that's its own storyline. But I love that additionally, separate from that, Maverick is still beating himself up over Goose dying.
Yeah.
Even though the court found him not guilty, like what, 23 or 30 years prior, the fact that Val Kilmer's like, you need to let that go. And he's like, I don't know how to. But the fact that it like, I wouldn't call it like a whole mystery movie, but there is a mystery that gets revealed. Like we find out that like, it's not about that. Like he pulled his papers. And then the next question is, well, then why did he pull his papers? And then we find out,
yeah,
there is
he promised his mom.
Yeah. I'm sad she died off screen. That's a bummer. I honestly thought you could get Meg Ryan to come back, right? Oh, well.
Yeah, I feel like I like saw articles about why she or how she was like really upset that she wasn't invited back, and I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. It was perfect. No notes. I wasn't like, man, I really wish Meg Ryan was here. No, didn't need it.
I mean, you don't need it, but like, I'm sure there's a way to like a phone call or I'm just saying if you wanted, but like, no, we're just gonna kill her. I'm like, oh, bummer.
Yeah. If we're cutting Manny Jacinto, it's
all
like
bets are off.
Yeah. They needed to shave that time. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody got time for Meg Ryan?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Meg Ryan. Sorry.
Well, a lot of people were upset that Kelly McGillis didn't come back, and people were like, oh, like there was a lot of shit about like people being ageist.
Are they supposed to have been together for all of this time?
Well, first of all, do you want them together this whole time? And two, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like this is a pretty well-known fact. She's retired from acting. So if she doesn't want to fucking act, why would you demand her to be in this movie? And then try to like, oh well. And like, I don't demand a supreme level of realism from like every movie I see, but like, maybe you're not always going to be with that one person you were with 30 years ago in your 20s.
Yeah. And that's fine.
And I mean, anything, I love that they created a whole backstory for his relationship with Penny. Like that we did this, we messed around, we were off, then we were on, then we were off. You took me in the plane, we did this, like and I think she mentions when you like fought in the Gulf, like she again exposition dump explains all these other things that he did as a captain over the years. I almost wish there were other sequels that showed that, but it was like there was Top Gun. She explains there was like 3 other Top Gun movies you never saw, and then here's the last movie. I hope they never do a Top Gun 3. 1, because I don't know how you're gonna surpass this, and 2, it really is the story of like you are aging out of this. Here's like maybe one last hurrah. It all comes down to Ed Harris being like, you're a dying breed and we're going to be done with you. And Tom Cruise is like, maybe you're right, but like not today. And it's like literally, but probably tomorrow. So like, don't do a 3rd one.
Yeah. I will say, Miles Teller is like pushing for a 3rd one / spinoff with his character. And it's like, come on, you can't do better than this for a sequel. You can't do it. You can't. It's perfect. Let it end with Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly flying off into the goddamn sunset.
Yeah, Maverick has a whole complete, like, this is like the end, not like the end of his life, but like the end of his story. Like, this is great.
Yeah,
I don't need any more.
we don't need to have Miles Teller have his own thing. Come on, go do something
actually,
else.
Okay, my take would be this: don't do a third movie with Maverick in it at all. If anything, I would want, the only way I'd follow this is if it's a spinoff with Miles Teller or someone else. But like, I'm done with Maverick. We're over. Like, that's,
oh yeah, definitely, for sure,
perfect.
But like he was the franchise. I mean, I know for a franchise, it's 2 movies. So like using the term franchise, is that even?
Yeah.
Does that apply?
When the first movie is such a legacy, sure.
And yeah, okay, great. I mean, part of me is like, what makes a franchise? How many entries into a database of the same rough title? Is it 3?
2.
No.
Why not?
2. Okay, great.
Gremlins and Gremlins 2. That's a franchise.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's like Top Gun Miles Teller spinoff. That's like a Paramount Plus show. Okay, that's not like
okay,
a movie.
Okay, normally it's weird. I feel weird disagreeing with you because I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I just, every once in a while these little miracles happen, and I always go, but what if? Like, Creed is so fucking good, and like, it's a spinoff, and it's a miracle. And I'm like, what if Miles Teller's movie's the next Creed? Like, you don't know.
Wow.
This movie shouldn't fucking work, and it's a miracle.
It is. But like, how many are we gonna get? Multiple? Are we gonna get back-to-back franchise miracles?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just saying it's just so good. Top Gun Maverick
Yes.
is just so good as it is. Do we need to push it? Miles Teller, I'm sure, is getting a lot of work. Not right now because of the strikes. Hashtag SAG strong, WGA strong. But he's probably he doesn't need this. He's getting a ton of work. He's a talented guy. I generally like him. I've heard he's a jerk. I don't love that. He's rocking that mustache. I mean, I just don't know if he needs it. I don't know if we need it. Oh, as a society.
I don't need it. I don't need it at all.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yes.
All I'll say is this. Unlike other things where I'm like, well, that will suck. Don't do it. Based on how well this went, I go, oh, well, you might get it right again. But like,
it's luring you into that false sense of franchise security. Well, don't fall for it.
Can I tell you why I have this false sense of security, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Take you on a little minor journey. Mission Impossible 1, fucking great. I love it.
Yes.
Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 2 sucks.
Pretty bad.
Mission Impossible 3, right back on track.
Yeah, pretty good.
I liked it. I liked 3. And then fucking 4 happened. Ghost Protocol. And I'm like, holy shit, that was better than 3.
Yes.
Then the 5th one, Rogue Nation, came out. And I was like, guys, like, 4 was so good. Just quit while you're ahead. And Rogue Nation was better. And I'm like, how the fuck is 5 better?
Look, is Tom Cruise gonna be producing the Miles Teller spinoff? Because if not, then I don't know.
All I'm saying is this: they should have quit while they were ahead with 5, and then they made a 6 Mission Impossible, and Fallout was better than 5 and 4, and sometimes I think it's better than 1. Like,
oh my
how the fuck do these Mission Impossible movies keep getting better?
You're really building me up to go back to finish that marathon that I started before the new movie that I still haven't seen.
New movie's good, but I will say this: it's not bad. But 4 and then 5 and then 6, 7 did not top 6 for me.
Oh, even though it's a part 1.
Even though it's part 1, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I'll wait to see, but like, I'm just saying that like it's still good.
Yeah.
But like, I think that the wave crested or whatever. I don't know.
Probably that. Good to know. Good to know. Sweet.
Yeah. Another little thing. Oh yeah, you mentioned this before, and my brain thought of it, and then it went away. But when we were talking about John Hamm and Tom Cruise getting shot down, just that whole sequence, which the internet very quickly discovered. They're like, wait a minute, we're having a debriefing scene where he fly down a trench, and then there's a thermal exhaust port, and then he doesn't. This all sounds very familiar. Like, use the force because my thing's not working. Like.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone who's like trying to, I'm like, look, if it fucking worked, great. Like, yeah, I get it. It's Star Wars. That's not a bad thing. So,
yeah.
But first of all, the movie is so fucking good at explaining to you the ins and outs of how it works.
Mhm.
So even if you're not like into military shit, even if you're not into like any of this shit,
Yep.
it kind of holds your hands and goes like, well, there's a thing, and then you go over here, and the G's are gonna. And this is why it's hard. This is why it's dangerous. Let us tell you the stakes. I go, oh, thank you, movie.
Yes.
'Cause,
And
yeah,
and not in a way that makes you feel like you're an idiot.
no,
It's accessible. It's like,
and it's engaging.
yeah, and it's like anyone of any level from any background can walk in and understand and like follow this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I mean, as a producer, I read feature scripts pretty regularly. And like when I'm reading a movie and like if there's anything that like slightly confuses me, I'm like, the audience is gonna be so lost. Like it just pulls you out of it. So like a major blockbuster movie that can hold your hand in that way without making you feel like you're having your hand held
Mm-hmm.
and bring every audience member along for the ride is such a feat. And it's very impressive. It's very well done.
Uh, it's the kind of movie where I literally like took my mom, and she like understood all of it. Like
Yeah.
you could take your mom to this, and she won't be lost.
Boom.
In any of the jargon.
Top Gun Maverick. You could take your mom to this. Produced
Put
by Tom Cruise.
that on a poster.
Yes. Love it.
But I'll just say when you get to that mission, um, first of all, they do a really, really good job towards the beginning. That very first training session, you actually get to, because that's another cliche is you have to feel, don't think, just turn your brain off and do it. And like I've seen that like a million times. But the
Sure.
movie does a really good job of playing that out in earnest and also showing that very first flying sequence. You get to see Miles Teller kind of like hawing a bit. I'm like, okay, so you're showing me the payoff at the end where he actually starts to just gun it. It all works exactly as it's supposed to. But what really works is because they spent this whole time telling us once you fly up out of the canyon, that's the hard part, because that's the part you might not come home from. And between the fucking score and just like all the like the just missile, like it's one of the few times where like it's not jarringly quick cut, but there's so much between the actors going, huh, what, and like just missiles and planes and just I 100% immediately get pulled into the threat and buy into the chaos. It is a very well produced chaos.
Yep.
And that's very easy to fuck up.
Correct.
And the stakes, like I get slightly unnerved watching it because I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to get out of this? And I know they're going to get out of it.
Right.
That's good movie making right there.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, everything like, can you? I know, like my mom can understand it, but like, do you feel like the importance of the mission? Like, you feel the fucking stakes as you're watching the movie, like the score, like the build up to that day, like.
Yeah, I think so. And then obviously, like, when they thought they had, a couple of weeks until the mission, suddenly it's 10 days or whatever it is. Like it gets shortened and it's like, oh no, the very important, nearly impossible mission is it's still just as important, but now it needs to happen sooner. Oh no. Somehow the stakes feel like they're even higher. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it does a great job of like really making it feel like, I mean, I think it was a uranium plant, so
yes,
I assume that's like nuclear, so like nuclear weapons of some kind. Unclear, kind of, but I know bad guys having nuclear weapons is bad. I mean, grew up in the Bush era. I understand that's bad. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's accessible, and then also it has like that like it follows the beats of this impossible mission. Oh no, the timeline is shorter. It's even more dire. It's like, ugh.
And then
but yeah, I get it.
I forget his call sign, but when John Hamm's like, well, all right, now we're gonna extend the mission from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and we're gonna raise the thing, like all the reasons why we shouldn't do this, and they're like, well, yeah, but, and he's just like, like.
He's like, Maverick's out of here. It's like, meanwhile, beep, beep, beep. You hear, oh, he's proving right now that you can do it in the original, but only he can do it. Only he can. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. He's the ultimate, like, look at this American exceptionalism. But like, again, as far as propaganda, it's very, very entertaining. And
it's
not again, it's not just about how awesome is Tom Cruise, but it's also about what this team needs to see in order to believe that this mission can be achieved. Like,
because no one has even come close yet.
No.
So like, how are they gonna keep striving towards what they feel is the impossible? And then while the new instructors are like, the John Hamm character who's taking over the training, like while he's saying, okay, we're gonna now make the parameters this, which means they're less safe because they were what they were to protect them to like get in and out and get back home. But like they're extending it because it's like, it's impossible, but you don't want to say it's impossible.
Right.
So yeah.
We have a whole other franchise where we say that.
Sure. Yes. Yep. Missions that are very difficult. That's the name of the franchise, right?
Yeah.
Difficult Missions. Produced by Tom Cruise.
I forgot. There's a whole other thing. I don't want to say we didn't talk about it, but like there's a part of the movie where it goes, all right, we kind of have to do this. If you're coming to a Top Gun movie, it's a sequel, it's a legacy sequel. If they didn't get him in an old F-14,
oh yeah,
like of course this fictional Korea Russia stand has some old F-14s in a hangar.
Yeah.
And of course, in order to get out, we gotta, and I almost wanted to roll my eyes at how calculated of a nostalgia bait it is.
Yep.
Except the fact that, well, one, it works. Just the actual action of it is exciting. But two, the fact that it's Goose's son is like in the seat behind him, like,
yep,
this is how you do nostalgia bait.
Yep. It's very, very good. And also I love that they're sneaking through the snow and they're like getting onto that base.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Like no one's like the wiser. Are there no security cameras? Is it because they're all scrambling anyway? But if they're all scrambling, then
I think chaos. Like,
sure,
holy shit. Sure. We just our tarmac was bombed the fuck out of. Like, there's a lot of smoke. Yeah. I mean, sure. I'm with you. It's a little goofy, but like the movie sells it.
Yes. And also it's like, an F-14 that only he can fly. I mean, obviously like Miles Teller's or Brewster is like, he doesn't know. It's like ancient. No. It's like a dinosaur, So he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know how to do it. Dinosaur like Maverick is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, this is actually also nice. Like, this is how you tell the story of like a character getting older, which we've had a lot of lately. That most of them, not most of, but there have been a lot of that I have not been fond of.
Sure.
Of newer franchises taking iconic characters from the 80s and 90s and going, look, they're old now. And I'm like, I never wanted this.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is a parallel between Tom Cruise trying to prove his relevancy and Maverick trying to prove, like, yeah, but maybe not today. This is how you take that character. Also, there's certain characters I think shouldn't get older and they don't work. And this actually does work. I'd say it works better than just generic young guy in his 20s being cocky, because I don't have anything to hook onto. But
yeah,
there's a lot of lines about like, this is where you belong. Go out there and make us proud. There are stakes. There's personal stakes that he has to deliver on for other people, let alone himself.
Yep.
Fuck, it's good.
So good. It's so good.
That's my review. Fuck, it's good.
Fuck, period. It's good.
Yeah.
Seconded. Review seconded. I'm pretty sure it's like 96 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I get it.
So good.
I fucking Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care. But yay. Sure. Yay to the 96. Yeah.
I mean, you don't put any stock in Rotten Tomatoes at all?
No.
Really? Interesting.
I have do you want my rant?
I mean, I don't want to make you think that I'm like really care about it, but when something that I like is good on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm like, oh, nice. But like if it's bad, I'm not like, oh, boo. I'm just like, I like the idea of things that I like also being liked by the masses because I'm like, that's good.
Okay, but
Hopefully that means people are gonna see it and like it and give it money.
at least right now in this specific moment, you are talking about something you like, and isn't it neat that the
Yes.
score reflects that? What I have a problem with is when you're just shooting the shit with someone, and we're talking about a movie that you haven't seen yet, and inevitably hear, oh, I heard it got 86 on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, I heard it did really good on Rotten Tomatoes. Like that fucking means anything. Like as a talking point, because it's an aggregate that takes something very binary. It's something that's not very binary and implies a binary structure to it. There's a whole spectrum of whether something's kind of bad, good, great, whatever. And they go, all right, well, we read these reviews. And if something's like, I don't know, that was all right, guess what? That counts as a positive. So I get very up my own ass if there's like some movie and like 86% of critics go, oh, that was all right.
Mm-hmm.
That counts as 86% fresh. People go, oh, it got 86. I'm like, yeah, but that's not a single test score. That's 86% of critics maybe saying, that's all right. Whereas if there's a movie that maybe really divides people because it's really bold or weird, so you have like half of the critics going, this is fucking great, and half going, I don't know, I don't get it. That I don't know, I don't get it now counts as a negative. So there could be some really, truly great cinema that only gets like a 56%. And there could be some really middling stuff that gets like a really fresh rating.
Yeah.
So like,
I hear you.
I just don't like when randos. It's gotten too much. It's too much in the culture now, and it has too much weight. I'm like, no, it's just, yeah.
It's also super easy to manipulate. Not the critics score, but like the audience score. Yeah, it's super easy to to dive bomb it,
to review bomb it. Yeah, like,
yeah, and to be
Captain
like
Marvel. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just, one of many examples. But I do like when a project that a movie that I like does well, and I like when a movie that I don't like does poorly on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, cool, yeah, I'm correct.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like when Everything Everywhere All at Once came out, which was my favorite movie last year. Review, like the audience, I mean the reviews score is really, really high. I'm like, well, good, yeah, that movie is great.
Yeah.
And all these critics said it's great. I go, okay, good. I would be upset if it didn't. But when there's like a more middling movie that also got like 95%, I go, well, who cares?
Yeah, I hear you.
Anyway, there's my rant.
Rant received and appreciated. Yeah, I think for me, it's like I've never gone to Rotten Tomatoes to like check things out, but I mean, it's just because it is so in the culture and so in the zeitgeist. It's like the Rotten Tomato scores get published on social media like it's
that's
by
my problem.
Like the AV Club, or like is posting like what a score gets, or like even like movies themselves or TV shows themselves. It's like they proudly post about their good Rotten Tomato score. So it's like, even if I never seek it out, it's a marketing tool that's used now.
Yeah, that's I don't like how it's been manipulated into that. And we put the sticker on like, fucking the Blu-rays and shit. I don't know. I just like the old days, the water cooler talk, you would say, oh, haven't heard a lot of good reviews. Or I've heard a lot of good reviews. I haven't got a lot of bad reviews. Now I just hear, oh, I got a low Rotten Tomato score. And I'm like, we used to have more nuance to things.
Sure.
The water cooler has changed, and I am an old man.
I was just
shaking my fist on.
You sound like such an old man right now, which is fine.
I know.
It's fine.
I
yeah.
know.
I mean, I hear you.
But yes, I'm glad that the Rotten Tomatoes score for Top Gun Maverick reflects our high estimation of it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know. It's like a form of validation to be like, oh, I like something, and also other people also.
They all get it.
Yes.
Just
also,
like I get it.
It's not like I had any question. It made $1.3 billion in the box office. Like, obviously, other people liked it. Yeah, but anyway, it does make me feel good, and it makes me feel good when on either side of the spectrum. In the middle, I really don't care.
There's some good stuff in the middle.
I mean, probably, but I don't like see those reviews or those scores and be like, I am going to or never going to watch a movie based on this. It really is just purely for confirmation of my own interest.
I find it very interesting when I like scroll down to see the critics reviews, and I always have to filter out so it's just critics reviews because I don't care about every fucking one else.
Right.
But it'll show a green splat, but like the little sentence they picked is kind of positive, and I'm like, see, like the review is, but you've noted it as a bad review.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
maybe a flawed process. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I just something I don't think we should, that the media and the way you promote movies and the way everyone is all invested, like I just don't think Rotten Tomatoes should have reached the level it's reached as something, as a touchstone that we use to gauge anything, like let alone promote anything. It's too flawed of a system, and it's become like the new benchmark. And I'm like, this? No. Ugh.
Fair.
Anyway, Top Gun was good. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, so good. It was good. Happy to be here. Seriously, super duper good. We'll see it probably many more times in my life. Yeah. I hope that there's no more. I do feel it feels complete. No more even a spin-off. Like I don't think we need spin-offs. I think we need more original stories. So maybe once these strikes are done, Hollywood will take more risks. Unlikely. But a girl can hope.
Yeah.
A girl can dream.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Every once in a blue moon, a fluke good original thing happens.
Yeah. Once in a super blue moon, which I think is tonight.
Yeah.
I gotta look outside. I will. Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm gonna sign off by making a little fart sound with my mouth now.
Okay.
Sometimes the mic doesn't pick it up because it's too loud, so I'm gonna try to make it real quiet this time. If you want to make a fart sound too, go for it.
Ready?